lips are sealed from both sides, both parties. Sean Durzi moves to Arizona for a second round pick.
Okay, first things first, I just want to say we're all really excited to talk today. Like I think this is by far most excited I've been to talk for for the pod since probably the Leafs win, like Leafs round one. That's very easily. I don't know about you, Brian. Brian, that one it might be even going farther back for you, man. It might be like trade deadline. I don't know.
The most
Maybe when they
exciting,
got
yeah.
the 8th overall pick.
True
No,
draft
no,
lottery.
Oh
that was
No,
not.
no,
but
he
then he
he
No,
was
got
no,
like,
no, 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 no.
it
yeah,
was
no,
that one just before
the day before,
the day
yeah,
before the lottery where you're like,
yeah, you're
oh
right.
man, I'm waiting, you
I
know.
thought we were
Yeah,
gonna win, but that didn't happen. But
okay.
in terms of winning, honestly, I think Arizona wins this one.
I think like easily, man. I gotta pull up the numbers here, but what did I say to you guys? What was the first thing I said? I said, how is Sean Durzi not at least getting to me the same deal as Sandin? So we traded our late first for or no, we got a late first. We got Boston's first round pick from the Capitals in exchange for Rasmus Sandin. That pick ends up being 28. Sean Durzi goes to Arizona for a second. I'm assuming it's Arizona's second, but I don't know for sure.
It's Montreal's.
Montreal's. Okay.
Yep.
In and around the same range. I think that's like probably like 35, 36. I guess at the end of the day, that's not crazy difference in value. But to me, at that price, a lot of teams should be interested in Sean Durzi. I think a early second to pay for Sean Durzi is something I would do 9 times out of 10. Almost unanimously contender rebuilding team. If Sean Durzi is your 5 or 6, I think you're doing pretty well. That was my first reaction. How about you guys?
Well, here's the thing. He's not going to be a 5 or 6 on Arizona. He is going to be
Oh my
one.
God.
That is
He
a
is the
number
number
one right
one.
there.
Welcome. You
Yeah.
are the Jacob Chikrin.
That is 30 minutes a night, Sean Durzi now, I think, instead of what was it, like 18 probably, or like under 18.
And I mean, that's the same conversation we had with Sandin when he first arrived with the Caps. Not that John Carlos is not the number one, but he was injured.
Yeah, no ear.
So
Yeah.
for a short period of time, Rasmus Sandin was the number one, munching all the minutes and putting up all the points. I think we can expect the same from Durzi, right?
Yes. And I also I know I said Arizona won the trade, but I also like the idea for LA because obviously gives the young guys a chance to come up potentially. And yeah. Also, one more thing about Durzi, he's actually up at the end like of this season, which
So
means that
trade
he
bait.
potentially. And
Yeah.
He's RFA though, right? Like
yes.
you would have to think, unless he says if he pulls a Dubois and says, "I'm not signing here. I don't like Arizona. I don't want to be relocated." Then maybe, but he is got team control. He's
Yes.
got control.
Dude,
But
is this the first buy Arizona's had in like 5 years?
forever.
At least. Like, who
It's
was the
Taylor
last
Hall.
time Arizona bought somebody?
Taylor
I'll
Hall.
have you know on March 9th, they got Steven Camphor for future considerations.
Oh,
Okay.
that's right. Yeah.
Warm
It's gonna
So
bodies.
be first line center this year, Steven Camphor.
yeah. Honestly, off the top of my head, I can't think of a time where, or at least the last time that Arizona was acquiring someone where they were
Like
giving up the
adding,
draft.
yeah.
Yeah, they were giving up a draft pick. I'm just
They,
searching through here. I'm in 2022, and none of these are buys. So it's been at
so
least a year.
if you guys have cap friendly up, count how
Mhm.
many second and third round picks Arizona have in the next like
I don't have it up, but
Dude,
I will take a guess. It's over under. The over under I'm putting at 9.5. I'm taking the over there.
so okay. Let's do the next 3 years. So that includes 23.
take a guess.
Second and thirds combined,
So
right?
second and thirds combined for the next 3 years.
Yep.
I want to say they have at least 2 for the next 3 years, like in both rounds. So if it's 4 a
Sure.
year
So
or 12, so I'm gonna say 12.
They
I
don't
think that's honestly under.
that is under.
Is it actually?
The only
Yeah,
year they don't have two is this year in the second round. They only
Oh
have their
my
own.
God.
and they
But
Good
might
they
pick
Lord.
one
they
up,
they just
honestly.
yeah, and that's just
They
because they
had
just
to.
traded away. Yeah. But Dave, 12 is under. Christian, do you have a guess?
I'm looking at it too, so don't ask me. Yeah, I'm just looking at all of these freaking picks. Looks like a pyramid on my screen.
Dave,
I
they have
didn't count
17
it.
in the
They have
next
17 picks.
in
Wow.
the second or third round.
And that's
Yeah.
crazy, man. That is crazy.
They're bound to hit on something.
Well, see, the question is though, do you use all of those picks individually, or do you consolidate them and try to like
Move up.
2/3 for a player, 2/3 for a second, 2 seconds for a first, right? That's what you probably try and do if you're Arizona, because you can't ice all of these second and third rounders. Like you can't do the OKC thing. This is what OKC does in the NBA. They just get all the picks, but then they end up having to trade them to consolidate
So
them.
so this is my question. Why make this trade? Because I think we could all agree here. Arizona is okay. Last year, I know listen, I went off the rail when I said like they were gonna make the playoffs. I have to say one thing. They put up a better fight than the other teams. Like they played a lot better than the other teams in that like bottom six, I would say. Like those really garbage, like Anaheim, Chicago, those
San
guys,
Jose.
San Jose. Do a lot of them looked lifeless. I think Arizona, besides Calgary, who lost, I think it was like a record like 31 goal games or something. It was like something ridiculous where Calgary kept it close. They couldn't finish it. Arizona was up there on that list of, losing, by a tight margin of victory. But it looks like this year, there's no talent on this roster. If there was none last year, there's like literally like just bones left on this roster right now. So why trade for a young, I get it, young, exciting prospect. We saw glimpses of Sean Durzi in Toronto. We got those highlight packs when he got drafted. We got to see him in LA. And he was for a time there, I think he was cracking in the top four, kind of got pushed down a little bit. Why trade for Durzi instead of picking up, UFA guys that you could then just flip at the deadline, which is what I think they're going to do to fill out the rest of this roster.
You gotta keep the fans excited for something, man. Now they have an upcoming young defenseman.
But they've never really cared about keeping the fans excited. That's my thing. Like if you
But
cared
this is a
about keeping
rabbit.
your fans excited, you wouldn't charge $150 to get into that barn that you call an arena, right?
This is a
I
rabbit
think
hole.
yeah,
Like this
sorry,
is a
finish your
deep.
point.
This is a deep rabbit hole. But like, okay, as a GM, LA's calling Sean Durzi for a second round pick. I'd do that in a heartbeat
Yeah.
if I'm any team,
But
right?
I'm having a hard time coming up with a reason for them not to, as much as it's the other
Yeah.
teams. Why didn't other teams do this? That's how I continue to look at it. Like he put up 38 points this year, 9 goals, 29 assists for 38 points in 72 games. That's pretty freaking good. 27 points in 64 games the year before
I'm a
as a
fan.
24, 23-year-old.
I'm honestly a little bit bumming that we didn't go for it. But like then again, our right side's filled out. I know Durzi can
True.
kind of play the left, but
You
yeah, I don't
probably,
know.
I think the ideal thing for him is either, but you probably want him top four with a rock steady defensive defenseman. I think that's like the ideal pairing for this guy because he's definitely a puck mover. He gives up a little bit on defense, but if you put him with someone to steady him, I think that's what you want. Arizona, I don't think has that, but
So Dyson
this is
Mayo
step
is
one.
is that guy.
Dyson Mayo, what a great name! 10 out of 10 name. I have
Okay.
one last thing on this here. So Sandin gets a late first, Durzi gets a late second, I mean an early second. Potentially, what is Timothy Liljegren's value in comparison? I'd say like a mid second, maybe. Yeah, like I think he probably comes in a little bit of a tier slightly behind Durzi. He's better defensively, but that's what I'm looking at it here.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Mid second in like the 80s.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. You know what? I'll even say like just a couple picks behind whatever Durzi got. Like if Durzi's 35, Lily can probably get in the 40s. I'll even say that.
Not that he's even on the trade board. This is just me selfishly thinking that in my head because we gotta make it about the Leafs.